So a very small group of us, concerned citizens, have come together this morning to stop an oil tanker in its tracks. We just need to communicate urgency to everybody that we're absolutely on the brink of losing everything we love, and that's the scientists, the United Nations saying that. We've had the President of Ukraine saying, if we can't end the age of fossil fuels in the face of civilian slaughter and the destruction of our planet, what is it going to take? The United Nations latest IPCC report came out, and it's basically been ignored. Our government have pushed ahead 3 days later after saying it's now or never, today not tomorrow, we must end all new fossil fuels now. 3 days later they've put out their UK energy strategy saying that they're going to put out 40 new fossil fuel licences. They're just tearing out children's future right in front of our eyes. And I don't think people realise how quickly it's coming. I've listened to the scientists, I've listened to the doctors, and they're saying, 2030, hundreds of thousands of Africans will be displaced from their homes. Worst case scenario is half the African population is displaced. And that's just Africa. Then you've got the whole tropics, which is going to become uninhabitable because of extreme heat. 40% of the population live there. It's so serious, and that's why we're taking such serious, drastic action here. Because what more is it going to take? We're into our 4th year of Extinction Rebellion, trying to get the message across. This is an emergency. We've got to act now, and our government is still ignoring us. So we're literally trying to stop the beast in its tracks here.
They're not ignoring you, though, are they? Because there's been kind of commitments put in place. There are plans to try and cut carbon emissions over the next few years. It's not going to happen overnight.
But it does need to happen rapidly, and the UN has been absolutely explicit that they are not talking about a continuation of business as usual, that it has to be a rapid and extreme pullback on fossil fuel use immediately, and that's the sort of wording that they're using. We've got the cost of living crisis and the war in Ukraine, which is our government's excuse to push for more fossil fuels. They're saying it will help our security and it will help our cost of living. It's not going to do either, because it takes so long to actually get an oil rig up and running, 10, 25 years. This is now, the emergency is now. And they are companies, they're not charities, these fossil fuel extracting companies. They're not going to sell it cheaper. The price is set by the international energy market. So
you mentioned the price of living, the cost of living. Doing things like this isn't going to help fuel prices. We've had shortages. That's not going to get people on your side.
This isn't going to affect the fuel prices. The prices are set by the international energy market. What this is doing is saying we've got to stop fossil fuels now. We've got to keep them in the ground. We need to, or new fossil fuels now. We understand that we can't stop all fossil fuels now. We need to have a just transition. We need to help all those that are working in the fossil fuel intensive industries to transition, retrain, reskill, reclaim employment. And it's an absolute no-brainer. It's perverse not to go for renewables, reducing our energy needs through retrofitting our homes and transforming our transport systems. In the future that we need, we should all be craving and want, because actually it will improve the living standard for the majority.
And what was kind of your conversation with the driver of this then? Obviously that's probably a pretty difficult thing for him to have to deal with.
Yeah, initially I was a bit shocked, I just want to do my job. It's the usual sort of reaction, and he listened to me and I listened to him, and in the end he said, I get it, I support you, I understand.
He said he supports you?
Yeah, he said, I get it, I understand.
And why do you personally, and perhaps I don't know whether your kind of sailing background has an impact on this because of what you see, what you witness, why do you personally care so much?
For me, the emergency is right now, the crisis is right now. I lived in Australia for 10 years. I have still the app on my phone, fires near me, so when the fires were burning, I was getting the evacuation notices. And this went on for months, constantly phoning my friends and family, are you okay, are you okay? I've got friends in Canada that were in the heat dome. That town literally spontaneously combusted so quickly the fire trucks couldn't leave the fire station. Friends in floods, because of having competed around the world and travelled for 20 years, I have friends everywhere. And I'm hearing from them first-hand stories of them actually being impacted directly about this. A couple of weeks ago I was hearing from another Olympic silver medalist in canoe slalom who was involved in the Lismore floods, getting the live alert saying, I'm up to my neck in water inside my roof and I don't know if I'm going to survive, help me, I can't get out. So the crisis is now, it's happening now. People are dying on every continent of the globe now, and we must act now on this to stop it from getting worse. we've got this narrow window of opportunity to secure a livable future, and those are the words of the United Nations. Whilst we've got this window of opportunity, we have to all act now and do it together collectively.
And what about the disruption that you cause, though, to normal people's lives who just want to enjoy their bank holiday?
We're doing it for all of them, and my boyfriend Etienne Stott up on the top there has been calling out to everybody passing by saying, hey, do you support us? We're doing this for you, and explaining why, and they're like, yeah, I think the level of support, we've done a lot of outreach here in London this week talking to people, and the majority of people really support us and really do want our government to act.
Laura, thank you very much.
Thank you.